Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Beige. If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, as well as turn on the post notification bell down below as well to be notified of all of my future uploads. This is a wig that I made from hair that was sent to me from Ollie Julia. I'll have all of the information and the links down below in the description box for you to click on if you're interested in purchasing. I'm wearing their Malaysian Curly texture. So as you can see, the hair color is an off black natural hair color, and I get a lot of questions on how I dye hair jet black. So let's jump right into that part of the tutorial. Okay, so this is the brush that I prefer to use whenever I'm dyeing the hair on a lace closure or a lace frontal. As you can see, this brush is very thin and the bristles are very feather-like. This is the typical denser brush that you get from beauty supply stores. You see the one that I prefer on top is much thinner, and I feel like with the brush that I use, it gives me more control over how much product is being put on the hair strands. I really love the color payoff of the Adore hair dyes. That's why I use them in almost all of my hair tutorials. But I do not like the fact that the hair dye itself is really runny. And because of that, you have a great chance of the hair dye getting on the lace. So in order to avoid that, I'm going to have to thicken this hair dye up by using some conditioner. Okay, so now that the hair dye is thick and the perfect consistency that I'm going for, it's now time to apply it to the wig. So I'm going to start off by applying the hair dye to the hairs on the lace frontal first. I am going to take a very thin slice. This gives me more control over where the hair dye is going. The thinner the slice of hair, the more control you have. So I'm going to take this thin slice, dip my brush into the hair dye, and then I'm going to begin to fully saturate these strands of hair. Notice that I am not saturating anywhere near the knots or the scalp of this lace frontal because I don't want that hair dye to seep through. So it's really important that you do not start at the roots or the very base of the lace frontal first. You work that hair dye into the actual strands, and whatever is left on your brush, you would then use that very small amount of product to coat close to the hair knots. So I get this question a lot about how to avoid getting dye on the lace when you're dyeing your wigs, and that's the point of me doing this video, to show you guys what I do. But this method of me doing this, it still might have a bit of dye on the lace because it's kind of unavoidable when you're using liquid dye. A lot of dyes come in either a cream or a liquid form, and I did use liquid, but I mixed it with a cream conditioner, which thickened it and made it, you know, a thicker substance. But as I'm applying it to this hair, and the hair is on top of each other like this, and there's nothing in between the hair and the lace, such as foil or some type of wax paper or anything like that, the dye might seep through. You know what I mean? The hair underneath the next section will seep through if it's too runny. I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but if this has a lot of dye on it and it's laying on top of this here, the dye from this is going to get on the one underneath, and it's going to keep going until it gets onto the lace if it's liquidy. So that's kind of unavoidable sometimes, and I ran out of aluminum foil, so I didn't get a chance to use it on this particular wig. But I am being very, very careful, and if you're careful with it and use a very, very light hand as you're applying this, and if you have a feather tipped brush like I have, and you're only applying very, very little product to the roots portion of this frontal, you shouldn't really have a problem. If you do get a couple of stains, that's fine too, because you can always use foundation on the lace to make it your complexion, and it won't be such a big deal. Just make sure that you don't get that like in the front, but even if you do get it in the front, use like a powder foundation, or you can just put baby hairs there. It's not that big of a deal, but you just have to be really careful when you're working with dye because it can spill and get all over the place. And when you are doing this, you don't want to rest your hand flat on the hair underneath, because if you do that, then obviously the wet dye is going to get on the lace. Like if I put my hand and put pressure on this wet hair, it's going to definitely dye the lace. So you want to be as careful as possible when you're doing this. So I'm just going to take my time and do the frontal, and then I'm going to do the rest of the hair. So moving on to the hairline, I'm not going to dip my brush into the hair dye at all. I'm just going to take that small section of hair in the front and run my brush through the hair strands a couple of times to pick up more product or the extra product that's on there. And then I'm going to use that product to coat near the knots in front of the hairline. Because the conditioner did dilute the hair dye a little bit, I am going to leave the hair dye on for a total of 8 hours. You can leave it on longer if you prefer. You can leave it on less amount of hours if you want to do that as well. But if I do wash it out in 45 minutes because the hair dye is diluted, it's not going to be fully jet black. So keep that in mind, because you did add conditioner to it. If you plan on doing this, it does dilute the hair dye, so you will have to leave it on longer to penetrate those strands and give you maximum color payoff. And this is the hair after it has been washed and deep conditioned, looking really, really beautiful. I love, love, love how jet black just changes the entire wig, and it looks very juicy. These curls look very juicy and lustrous, and I just love it. Okay, to style this hair, I will be doing the LOC method. The L stands for leave-in, the O for oil, and then the C is for cream or gel. So I'm going to start off by sectioning off the hair, detangling it with my detangling comb, and then applying a leave-in conditioner, followed by an oil, and then a cream or gel. After applying the products to each section of hair, I'm going to grab my modified DENMAN brush, and I'm going to brush through the hair, and that's going to define the hair even more. If you would like to see how I modified my DENMAN brush and how the DENMAN brush actually curls the hair, please click the link down below in the description box, or I'll have the link somewhere on this screen for you to click directly onto that video. So now that I'm done applying the products, I am grabbing this diffuser. This is by Curly Pops, one of my absolute favorite diffusers for curly hair. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you leave all of your comments down below in the comment section, and don't forget to turn on your post notification bell for my channel down below as well. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye guys.